Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. So many people have requested that I prepare a tutorial for day one on getting started on TradingView. What are the main things that you need to know to stop struggling with TradingView when you're navigating the different charts, adding indicators and all of that. We're gonna cover the pricing model of TradingView to see what's included on each of the tiers, what's worth, what is a waste of money. We're gonna create a workspace from scratch, identify where can we find the things in the different panes, how to select a symbol, how to change time frames, do a little bit of tricks, the different chart styles, different candlesticks, navigating like a pro. Really, I see a lot of people using the mouse and dragging forever. There's so many shortcuts that can make a lot more enjoyable your time as well. Using TradingView, we'll cover all these 10 topics, so sit down and relax because it's going to be definitely useful for beginners and even for people that have some bad habits. You might find something useful here as well. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. If you appreciate this new tutorial, give it a like. Let's get it to 1,000 ones. Let's identify what's included in each of the plans very quickly. Remember that you can get started for free. If you do so, even if not yet, you're convinced to step up into a paid subscription, create your account using the link in the description. You get a nice discount and you can also opt for $30 in your account. Of course, we both win if we do that. The link is right here in the description. So of course we have the free tier that offers you very basic tools. You have limitations on the number of indicators you can put in the chart. You have limitations on how many historic bars you can go back in time. If you start with the essential, I will say you get a lot of value actually, particularly if you go for the annual, you get a 70% discount and you already get access to alerts. For me, it's almost mandatory to get the alerts so you don't have to be staring at the charts all day waiting for something to happen. And yes, we're gonna cover how to set up the alerts on the point 10. There are timestamps in the video so you can skip to any of these points. And the typical question is it worth really going for Plus, Premium, Expert or Ultimate? Well, that is going to depend definitely on how many layouts you're gonna need, different types of charts that you wanna save separately, how many indicators you wanna put on each of those layouts in order to get more historical bars. If you wanna do backtesting, either manual or using PineScript, I suggest to start considering 20,000 historical bars. On the Ultimate, of course, you get 40,000, and there's also professional plans that go way beyond this pricing. Something else to consider that is really cool is the watch list alerts, which means that you can populate a watch list with multiple symbols and create an alert that triggers with any of the symbols that are within that watch list. I'm in love with that feature. So let's get started with point 1. Create and tune your workspace. After you sign up, we need to take care of business. Of course, we need to set the time zone, the currency, whether you want it in dark mode or not. So let's say you are in the home of TradingView, you are already signed up, sign in, and you go to products, super charts. Of course, notice there's tons of different things, tools, calendars, portfolios, and all of that, but we're not gonna cover them. We're gonna focus pretty much on the super charts, which is the main product of TradingView, and we're gonna quickly go through the screener on crypto because I just find it fantastic addition to having the super charts. So I'm gonna click on super charts and we go to the top button in here, and if we hover this area with the time, you can click on this and select your time zone. This is very important. You can also do it from the settings here. There is a symbol that you click and then you hit more settings, and on symbol you're gonna find the time zone. On the top left corner, if we hit this icon here, we're gonna see a toggle to enable dark theme. For me, that's a must. So if you don't know where it is, that's where you can find it. You can also change the language and you can explore the keyboard shortcuts from there as well. So looking at the super chart, we can see that we have a top bar which contains the symbol, the time frame. Here is where you can find how to set an alert, and there's the area of the replay that is very useful when you want to do some manual backtesting, go back in time without cheating and seeing the future and then letting it run to see how you will perform as a trader. Is fantastic. We'll get into that later. On the left toolbar, we have all the drawing tools. That's where I do my trend lines, Fibonacci extensions. And on the right bar is where we're gonna find the watch list, alert manager, the ideas, and a lot more like the calendar, for example, options, the chat. That's also where I can find the object tree and the data window. But that's for more advanced users, of course. And the bottom tabs include the strategy tester, the Pine editor, and paper trading journal. In today's tutorial, we're not going to look into Pine script that's going to make the 10 points go into 100 points tutorial. So we'll skip that. So how can we load different symbols and change the time frames? What sort of tricks do we have? So if I'm in a super chart and I want to load a different symbol, I don't even move my mouse and click here to get the symbol search. All I do is just type the symbol. For example, I want to go to Ethereum and I start typing Ethereum. The moment I hit the E for Ethereum is the moment I start typing in the simple search. I'm assuming you are into crypto, so you probably want to find against USD or USDT or C. You can also add the .p and then you're gonna filter by perpetuals. Notice I'm not using the mouse yet. I can use the arrows in my keyboard to go down and start scrolling and highlighting the different options. While I'm doing this, it's showing me the full symbol name of each individual item. For example, the top one is Binance Ethereum USDT.p. I'm not gonna cover ratio charts, but be aware that there is in here the option to do mathematical expressions, and you have all the symbols, including the power and all of that. For example, I can do Ethereum over the SPX. Notice that I'm not getting the one from general markets, and that's because I'm filtering by crypto. But if I go with all, SPX is gonna rank as the top result S&P 500. And if I use the keyboard on the mouse while I'm still typing and I go down, you can see that now is on the top selecting the symbol, specific asset and provider as well. For example, this one is from Spreadex. I hit enter and it starts loading. So is there any shortcut that can speed up my change of time frame? Particularly, you can have some favorites in here and you can see already that I have 1 hour, 4 hour and 8 hour. For that, I expand this menu and I hit the star so I can favorite it. If you put too many, this is gonna go too long. For example, I shouldn't have the 1 minute. I don't even use that. I'm gonna remove 5 minutes and I'm gonna stick just from 50 minutes if I ever need it. It's gonna be there. So that is how you set up this area at the top. Then you can just click it and flip time frame very quickly. Another shortcut that not many people know is that if you are in front of the super chart and you have it selected like I do, and you type on the keyboard any number, for example, I'm gonna hit the number 3, immediately it offers you this menu, which is to change the interval. So I can put 4 hour in here and it's gonna go there. I'm gonna type again 4 and I'm gonna put 4 weeks by typing a W and I go straight away into the 4-week time frame. That is very convenient, so you don't have to go here, scroll down and find it and then struggle because you cannot even find it. You can just type any custom thing like 6 minutes. Well, actually 2 months. Let's go the chart styles. This includes how to do the different types of candles, and I promise you this part is very fun. You can see I have selected in here 3 types, just like we did with the time frames. I want to have those 3 because they are very convenient. I want to have Heikin Ashi, which is this way of seeing the candles that doesn't necessarily represent what the actual price is doing. It uses like some moving averages to get a smoother view of the trend. And it's very convenient. For example, in here you can tell once you start seeing green in here, that means a trend reversal. The actual candles are not doing that. There's plenty of red in between, but consider the Heikin Ashi as a smooth way of seeing price action, kind of removing the noise. If you use the line, it's a simplified way of seeing things. It's at the moment just showing me the closing prices, so we are missing a little bit of information in here. We don't know what happened in each individual reading, and that's why we use open, close, high and low candles, which is this one in here. If you expand the full menu, you're gonna find plenty of crazy things, and I'm not gonna go through all of them, but I encourage you to explore them if you have some time. Have a look at the volume candles. They're pretty cool. Session volume profile as well. Renko candles are really cool. I remember being obsessed with them for a while. We're gonna look into how I navigate, particularly on TradingView. This might be not necessarily your preference. As a former developer, I tend to have a little bit of an obsession with doing things with the keyboard for gaining the most speed possible. Of course, you're welcome to use the mouse, but there are some things that I see every single influencer, and since I'm a very obsessed person, I get annoyed with all the time that people that have over 1 million subscribers take to get this to look good. What would you do if you see the chart like this? Well, many people will start scrolling with the wheel on the mouse if they have an amazing mouse like this, this one, which is the Logi Master something, you can use the horizontal and vertical scrolls to move around. And then if you hit the command key on Mac, or I suspect the Alt key on Windows, you can use the horizontal scroll to stretch it like this. But there is a very simple way to expand the whole chart. You just double click on anywhere above this ruler and you're gonna get it stretched to fit vertically. Let's just do that. I'm gonna click right there where it says 12 and voila, I don't have to adjust this scrolling endlessly until I match what I need. You can also do it on the horizontal ruler in here with the time, and it's gonna stretch it in this way. Something else that I see a lot of people struggling is that they never discover that there is these settings in here. So click that and make a decision in here on how you want things to zoom out. I encourage you to try all of them. My personal preference is to use scale to price chart only. Why is that? Because sometimes I have some indicators that are drawing some things very far from the price, and if you don't use that, when you do the double click, it's gonna zoom to fit everything that is going on vertically in the chart, making the price action very compressed and difficult to understand. For me, the most important thing always when I zoom out is to see the price like this, and then if I want to see the indicators, I click on the ruler and I start dragging until I bring in the rest of the things. That is my second favorite shortcut for zooming out vertically. Just grab the ruler and move up and down while keeping the click still active. So let's zoom out again. Let's zoom everything, and now we're gonna click the ruler on the bottom and do some dragging, and you can see that this is very quickly compressing the whole history. That is my third favorite thing to do, to move very quickly across all the chart. Something else I see a ton of people doing is, let's say we are in the latest price action and they want to go a few months back in time. Let me know honestly in the comments, what would you do? You will probably grab the chart and start moving it like this endlessly, and if I was watching you doing that, I will probably start smashing my head against the wall, because that is really frustrating for someone so obsessive like me. I will just click this go to or hit Mac G and then specify right here where you want to go. You want to go 2 months back in time, just click that month and go. Let me put this on the 1 hour time frame and let's try it again. Let's go to the 1st of March, and you can see that is going there and also highlighting where precisely is that destination you wanted to go. In the background there is a grid. I don't know if you can see it in the video. It depends how crappy is your phone or your TV, but if you hit with the right click somewhere in the chart where there isn't anything and you hit settings and then you go to canvas, then you have all the settings in here for your preference. And again, if you want dark mode, don't do it from here. There is a very quick shortcut to get the dark mode, just enabling it from there instead of having to select each individual color of everything and changing it manually, which is another way for me to hit my head against the wall. When I record a video or take screenshots for Twitter, I tend to put this in solid and change the color to black. You can get rid of the grid lines if they bother you. By doing so, you get a very clean view. I also disable the volume just to take a nice screenshot that is primarily focused on what's going on with the price. As you can see in here, no distractions, just price action. But again, it's a matter of preference, and my goal is to show you where things are, not to encourage you to become a crazy maniac like me. Let's go through the essential drawing tools and hotkeys as well, and that is going to be on the left pane. We're gonna go and hover and see what is worth looking at. Starting with the lines, that actually is very useful. Of course, we get the trend lines in here. Notice everything that I have favorite. That's gonna give you an idea of what I like to use, but of course you use whatever you want. All the favorites are gonna be right here at the bottom left corner. Let's enable it and it can fly. If you get tired of this thing, just hit the start again and it goes away. So I like the trend line. Of course, you click where you want the trend line to start, and a destination is as simple as that. Then you can click on the trend line, double click it and change the style of the trend line, write some text around it, change the coordinates and do a lot of things. That's where I go into the object 3, which is here, where you can manipulate everything that you have done in the chart. For example, I did some drawings earlier and I'm gonna get rid of them. From here is a lot easier to manipulate things, even to bring back the volume and my trend line, getting it to appear or lock it so you don't accidentally end up moving it around. We have rays, we have info lines, extended lines. I use the horizontal line like this and I can drag and drop it. I use the vertical line as well. All of them allow you to move them. And an amazing shortcut and another source for me to get uncomfortable is when people start drawing something, repeating the same thing, creating the same line and creating the same line. There is a shortcut to do that very quickly, which is select what you want to duplicate. Once you see it selected, because it's got these blue dots on each extreme, you can just hit the Mac command key on Mac or the Alt on Windows, I suspect, and then you take it with you somewhere else and you get another one. Keep that line there and you're multiplying it by 2. So that's how you very quickly can get tons of duplicates of something that you want to be doing. Then you can grab it and place it somewhere else. All those duplicates can live anywhere in the chart. So let's clean all of this from here, deleting, and let's do something that is very important. Let's put a horizontal ray from there. Notice that the ray has a beginning and then it goes to the right hand side. We're going to do something. We're going to set an alert to one of these drawings, which is not part of this section, but since I'm drawing these things, we're going to do a right click on one of these elements. Let's do it on the ray and let's do add alert on horizontal ray. That's going to bring this menu. It's going to have already selected the price and crossing the horizontal ray. Then you have to decide what trigger you want, if you want the alert only once or once per bar close or all of that. And this alert is going to notify you when the price is crossing this thing only one time. After you save it, that's going to go to the alert menu. We'll get into alerts anyways, but I just wanted to show you that any drawing can turn into an alert, which is something that most people completely ignore. We have the Fibonacci retracement tools in here. I double click on them and I decide the lines that I want to keep. The trend Fibonacci extension, which is fantastic. You can take extremes, for example, this extreme, and then connect it to where you are and get extensions of if you carry on in that direction, where could it extend next. You have all sorts of patterns. You have long position and short positions to explain to people what sort of plans you have. You have Fibonacci channels and a lot of things in here. The drawing tools that I use primarily is the brush. Once you draw something, you can select it and get a menu and change colors, the thickness, and tons of things. You can also draw rectangles, circles, paths. Paths is pretty cool because you can explain where you're going. Then you hit the escape key and it stays with the last one. You can write down text. I really like using the price note, which is this one, so I can remember where that was. Another shortcut that is extremely useful, let's clean the chart, is the measure tool, which is located in here, but you can enable it just by holding the shift and clicking somewhere and then extending it to where you want to go. Then click one last time and leave it there. That's how you can calculate percentages or price distance. Have a think if you want to use the magnet. You have a weak magnet, strong magnet, or disabling it. That is going to make all the objects that you're dropping to attach to something that is around. It drives me nuts, so I don't use it. Let's start doing indicators. Where are the indicators? And indicators, I access them directly by clicking in the indicator menu, or you can just do slash and the menu is gonna come in here. If you already have access to my Pine scripts from my Patreon shop, the link is in the description, they're gonna all appear in the invite only for the first time. If you search for them, if you do RSI VIP, for example, my own version of the RSI, you are not gonna find it. I can find it because I already have it favorite and also because it belongs to this account. But the first time that you get the indicators, even if you type RSI VIP, no result is gonna appear here. Why is that? Because the indicators are private and they're only displayed in invite only until you favorite them. Once they are in your favorites, you can search for them and find them. There's tons of indicators. Here is where you're gonna find the ones that you have made. I have made over thousands of indicators. Not all of them, of course, I use them, but there's been a lot of research going on. On technicals, you're gonna have indicators and strategies, profiles and patterns, but let's do something simple. Let's say we wanna do the MACD. Here, I'm gonna search MACD, and the top result that doesn't have an author is usually the one implemented by TradingView, but you can find many alternative implementations. So let's click on one. It's appearing in the object tree, and we got it in here. We can double click to change settings. We can move the pane to the top by hitting these arrows up and down. You can change the order. You can also move them around and put them together from the object tree, which is crazy. You can bring another indicator. For example, in here, I'm gonna be bringing the cross-buy ratio, and then I'm gonna apply the MACD instead of apply to the price. I'm gonna apply it to the cross-buy ratio and see how it looks. We're gonna make a few changes, and then we're gonna turn this into a template, into an actual layout that we can use later. But let's go first with the templates. Templates are in this area and layouts are in this area. I don't use templates, but templates are basically something that whenever you are in a chart, you can hit and it's going to apply all those indicators to the same layout where you are. So it's going to swap all your indicators. So if you have shortcuts, you want to do some analysis with MACD and RSI, and then later you want to do analysis with something else, you can use templates. But I prefer to use layouts because I give them names, I can search for them later, I can favorite them, I can share the layouts with a URL that I share publicly, and anyone can copy my chart layout later. So let's add a few more indicators. Let's add the standard RSI. And once we are happy with how things are looking and we want to revisit this in the future, you can save this indicator template by using this command. But in my case, I'm going to save it as a layout and I call it TradingView tutorial. At the moment, I have it in auto save, so it's already saved. If I wanted to share it with you, I will just click sharing and then I copy the link and I give you the link. That way you can get exactly what I'm seeing. I'm going to cover the multi-chart layout that is very useful. Here you can find it right next to the name of the layout and you have plenty of different shapes. For example, you have horizontal or vertical double layout. Let's see how that looks. It looks like this. You can use it also like that. At the moment my screen is in landscape, so it doesn't really look that great. But for example, this mode in here will be fantastic. You can select the right hand side and change the symbol to BTC and then do a comparison. Since my account is pretty upgraded, I can get up to 16 charts in the same thing and then get a monster monitor 8K and see everything that's going on in the world and just go mental, like the Mechanic Orange. What was that movie? Anyways, in all this multi-chart layout, you have different options to sync them. For example, if you want both to always be in the same symbol but change just the indicators, that is very cool. Let's do that. Let's sync the symbol and now both layouts are synced on the same symbol. Let's go to ADA and both are loading ADA. So if in this one you want to have your layout slightly different, let's do it like this. Then let's go now to XRP and we get both views syncing the same symbol but allowing the indicators to be different. We can sync the interval, the crosshair, which is this line that is moving, the time, the date range. Experiment a little bit with that. The watch list, that is really useful. You can find it here on the top right corner, enable it, and then with this plus symbol you can add multiple symbols. Every time that you hit the plus from this pop-up window, you're gonna be adding things to your watch list. I organize them by topics. Like for example, you can collapse the different topics inside. You can see I have a watch list alert in here, and something really cool is to select a symbol, for example Solana, and then with the keyboard start going down and see how each one is looking. Just hitting one key, I'm moving to the next, and everything is updating all the indicators across the multi-chart view. You can delete elements, you can drag and drop them to organize them better. For example, my red list in here contains some stuff from crypto, some stuff from general markets, tech stocks. You can be tidy if you really want to. So something I use a lot is the crypto pairs screener, and now they have a new screener. I don't know how to get to the new screener without going to the old screener. Anyways, let me know in the comments if you figured that already. So I'm gonna hit try the new screener, and that's gonna bring a pop-up that is covering part of the chart. So I'm gonna click this element here that says more overlay to split view. Let's hide the watch list. Let's expand it a little bit further. Let's go back to single chart, which is this layout setup. Let's go back to just one, and as you can see, I have a screener that has the top 100 rank of altcoins, and I'm sorting by the alt rank, which is something I really like to do. You can sort ascending, descending. This is my custom view. Let's look at the overview that gives you tons of value in here. You can sort by anything, create your own custom screener, including any data that you care. And again, you can go one by one and see each individual symbol and see what is really calling attention today, which is SPX, Kaya, DAI, and OKV. Later, you can save your screener or have multiple screeners that focus on different aspects that you care. One for general markets, one for crypto, one for DeFi, whatever you want. Of course, the beauty of this is later, instead of having the 100 coins that belong to the rank 100, is to apply some filters and say, well, I really want to see only what has a lot of volume today, what has changed a lot today, or any aspects that you care about. If you want to add a new filter, you can search in here and you can find filters for absolutely everything. It's just mental the amount of data that there is here. Let's go with the alerts and paper trading. So let's get rid of the screener, and I already explained how to create an alert based on some lines, but it's worth opening the alert menu, which you can find in here. The alert command to add one is at the top pane. It looks like a clock, and you can set alerts for price, crossing a value, being below, inside a channel, exiting a channel, moving X percentage, whatever you really want, and then you decide what message you want to send and how you want to get notified. I love using the webhooks for trading with bots and automating smart trades. You can send emails, get notified in the app, hear a sound, get your family to complain that all night they've been listening some weird sound coming from your desktop, and that's just the market crashing. You can also set alerts directly from an indicator. For example, here in the more menu, I can go straight into the MACD and do that and define what is my entry, or I can do it the traditional way, hitting clear, create an alert, and changing things from the condition menu. As I say, you're gonna find all your alerts in the alert menu. You're gonna find the log of the latest alerts, and you can also enable, disable, or suspend an alert for a period when you want to go for holidays. And last but not least is paper trading. And for paper trading, I'm gonna showcase how to do the bar replay. So we're gonna enable the bar replay, and you can see that it brings in this vertical line, and we can go back in time, for example here. So let's say you want to do some fair backtesting, improve your friends that you are amazing trader. So you can go back in time, place it in July, and then you get this menu for manipulating the time, and this menu in here to take the trades. So I'm not gonna trade in here, but I can hit play, and you're gonna see that it's going too fast to make any decisions. So you hit the replay speed, and you can drop it even to less than 1 per second to take your time to think about it, and then it's gonna go very slow every second. Nothing will happen, but then you can decide to take a buy, for example, right here, and then let's fast forward to see how bad I'm gonna do, and then enter another long, average down. You know, I keep adding positions, and now I'm in profit, and now I'm in a loss, pretty much like real life. Let's go slower and let's lock in those prices. For that, I'm gonna click flatten, but I could have also turned it into a short by selling one. You can change the quantity, of course, but we know already I entered 3 times long, so I will have to hit sell 3 times or hit flatten, and at that point I took profits, and the replay trading is showing me my performance. I made already almost $1, so you should be proud of me. And I'm showing this part in the tutorial because I think that doing this backtesting with indicators is a must to get better at trading, but it's not enough. Of course, you need to practice with real money and feel the psychological side of things, because this is just a game. But anyways, it's a good start if you have never done any trading before. Let's exit the bar replay, let's close the pane, and we have concluded the tutorial today. Let me know in the comments if you found it useful and which other tutorials you want me to cover. Remember that if you go to my playlist in my channel and you scroll down, you're gonna find trading tutorials. This playlist contains 11 different tutorials where I go in depth with RSI, liquidation maps, trading different, tons of things that people keep asking me, when are you gonna do it? And they're already there. You can also find me playing some music, that's your thing. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching this extended day 1 TradingView tutorial. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.